Welcome back to Beyond the Cage, presented by Intimidation Clothing. Jim Graham and Dave Sadler with you. On the line joining us, we have a man who can speak Russian, fluent in French, and whose both sides of his pillow are cool. We have UFC fighter Daron Cruickshank. Daron, thanks for coming back on Beyond the Cage.
Hey, thanks for bringing me on.
All right, it's been a couple months since we last talked to you, Daron, so how did you spend the holiday season?
Well, I got ready for a fight and made some money and, yeah, bought some toys. I did buy a bunch of toys.
Anything really cool that you want to share with us that you bought?
I bought an AR-15 before you can't get them anymore.
Nice. I saw that. I know you had a white Bronco as your vehicle, and I saw something about you getting a new vehicle or having to get a new vehicle. The Bronco died on you.
Yeah. Actually, it was a 1979 Bronco, and it was like lifted. I still have it. It's parked in the backyard, but I threw a rod in the motor, and it's a little too cold to work on it now. So I'm gonna get into that during the summer. But I bought a little car, little four banger turbo all-wheel drive. It's actually pretty sweet to drive, and it like saved my life last week driving to the Arnold Classic. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Speaking of the New Year, did you make any New Year's resolutions?
Not really. I mean, I feel like there's nothing to change, so I don't really want to lose anything, I guess.
Right, I hear you. Let's get to your last fight here a little bit. You ended it with that spectacular head kick knockout, and when I saw it, first of all, I was ecstatic. I was jumping off my couch because you did that, and my second thought was after the fight, I looked up the Fight of the Night awards, and somehow you did not win Knockout of the Night. How was that possible?
It was an awesome kick, and it was a great show, but I basically got told that the Eve Edwards fight, the fight that actually got the Knockout of the Night, it was a higher caliber fight. The guys have both been in the UFC for, many years, and neither one of the guys has ever been knocked out, and it just wasn't supposed to happen. And that's why Eve Edwards got the Knockout of the Night. As far as, my knockout, it was awesome. I mean, it kind of skyrocketed me up. It put me on SportsCenter, Sports Nation, all kinds of press and things like that. So now I'm happy with just that. I'm very thankful for everything that's happened to me.
Besides the head kick, can you just talk a little bit about your performance in your last fight against Henry Martinez?
Well, I wanted to go out there and put on a show, and being that he is that tough, he took a lot of punishment and just kept coming. It was like Terminator or something. But I got to show off a lot of my skills, and it was great for the fans. And those are the kind of fights that are fun for me. Not the ones where it gets finished so soon and you don't actually get to play. But that one, went to the second round and I got to play a little.
Since your last fight against Henry Martinez was in Seattle, I saw some pictures that you got to visit Bruce Lee's grave. What was that like?
It was cool. I walked there. It was like a 6-mile walk up and down these hills and stuff. But I went there and just, paid my respects. And it was really cool to see. It was actually Bruce's and his son's gravesite. They're right next to each other. And you would think that there's like a fence and a gate and all kinds of stuff around it, but it's basically two gravestones right next to some other gravestones. Like they don't like have it up on a pedestal or anything like that. Like anybody can go see it. You don't gotta pay. It's actually really cool.
Speaking of Bruce, do you have a favorite Bruce Lee movie?
Not really. I mean, I like Enter the Dragon, I guess. They're all good.
Now, you mentioned the Arnold a little bit earlier. Obviously, we were at the Arnold. You were able to meet up with Dave. Was that the first time you got to go down there for the Arnold in Columbus?
I've actually been at the Arnold like every year for the last 5 years, but I've never actually, got to work a booth and hang out, instead of just running around being stuck in the crowds. It was actually pretty cool.
Did you meet any unusual people there while you were at the Arnold?
I hooked up with Uriah Faber. He was there, and we hung out for a little bit, and he hooked it up at his booth, and there was like, I don't know, there was all kinds of people there. It was really cool. And when I was walking through the crowd, you know, like, some people recognized me, and I took pictures of them, but for the most part, you know, it's only like the hardcore UFC fans that actually notice me, you know.
Let me get into my questions. They're not as hardcore as Jim's, but they are my questions. You know, the UFC on their website, they recently started posting the fighter rankings for each weight class. What do you think of them posting the rankings, and do you think that the numbers that they do post, do they have any merit?
As far as like my concern and things like that, I don't really look at rankings and you know, things like history of people's fights and stuff like that. It's I don't really worry about that stuff. You know, when they give me a name of a certain person that I'm going to fight, then I'll care. Then I'll worry about where he's at, and it's a whole different ballgame when a guy fights a different person and then he steps in front of me or you know, vice versa. So I don't really worry about it.
You know, I was looking back at all your records and all that kind of stuff from the Ultimate Fighter. How's life changed for you in the last year and a half or 2 years?
It's been a crazy year and a half. It really has. It's before that, actually the last like 2 years, I fought Bobby Green. So I turned professional. I had a couple wins in a row. I fought Bobby Green. I ended up losing. I fought another guy, won. I fought Luis Palomino, ended up losing again. And I was kind of like in a rut almost, like kind of questioning myself, like, you know, is this for me, da-da-da. And then I went on this crazy, like, okay, I don't really care about my record. I'm just going to fight. I took a bunch of fights that I wasn't supposed to win. Like the last couple before the Ultimate Fighter, I wasn't supposed to win. I went to the I went to Canada and fought a bunch of people, and every time I was brought in kind of to lose. And, you know, it's the pressure. All that pressure makes a diamond. And that's what it did. I'm a diamond in the rough, and all this, you know, I'm going to Canada again and fighting in hostile territory, and I love that part. But that's what makes you know, great things. You know, it's that's what's gonna skyrocket me to the top, and that's what I want.
Hey, in your spare time, what kind of things do you do? You play video games, read comics, you know?
I do play some Call of Duty from time to time on Xbox. My gamer tag is Detroit Superstar, so check it out.
I'm writing it down right now.
And I do you know, I do go hunting and things like that. I mean, the season's over right now, but and I recently just basically started a gun collection.
Nice.
So yeah, I go shooting a lot now too.
Seems to be a theme. Call of Duty, guns. Look out. Hey.
Yeah. Why not?
Anytime I get a UFC fighter, I always ask this question: have you played the UFC game on the Xbox? And if so, have you ever created yourself?
I actually haven't. I'm more of a first-person shooter kind of guy. Actually, the only game I do play is Call of Duty. If I did have a character on the UFC game, then I probably would. I probably would play. You know, just to see how good the game actually is in comparison. Yeah. But I haven't really dabbled in that yet.
Since you're now in the UFC, you've made the journey all the way to the UFC. Do you save anything from your fights, like your hand wraps, your gloves, maybe a poster or something?
I do. I actually frame, because the UFC gives every fighter 3 posters. So I give, one of them is fully signed by everybody on the card. So I frame that one, and I give the other 2 to my parents. I keep my shorts, I keep my hand wraps and my gloves. I actually put them in like a baggie that they give you that night. And, you know, obviously I try to get as much memorabilia and things like that. And I do like a lot of giveaways and stuff like that, and like raffles for charities and stuff. So, you know, I do give quite a bit of it away. but things to me, it's the memory of it. It's not a big thing about holding on to stuff. I lived it. Just like the Ultimate Fighter. Everybody's like, oh, did you go watch your season? No, dude, I lived it. I was there. So, it's great to have that stuff. I'll be able to show my kids and stuff whenever, whatever I have them or whatever. But, it's just, I lived it. So that's all that matters to me.
We're talking with UFC fighter Daron Cruickshank here on Beyond the Cage. And Daron, you mentioned maybe doing some contests and stuff, giving some of that collectibles away. And I know you got one running right now on Twitter. Can you tell the folks how they can join that contest?
Yeah, you actually have to follow me. You have to follow Anger MMA and PR. What's the PR one? I have to figure it out. But it's a pretty cool contest. I'm actually going to be putting somebody's Twitter name on my shorts and my banner. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. You better get into the contest.
And again, that Twitter handle is @Cruickshank155, just in case you were wondering.
And to clarify, the Twitter handles that you need to follow are Daron's, our Anger MMA, and
there we go.
Pulse PR Agency. Yep. So I did it, so hopefully I'll get my Twitter handle on his shorts, but we'll see.
All right, your fight is next Saturday, so we're about a week away from it. So how's your weight doing right now?
My weight's good. I'm in the 60s, a little high 60s. Last week, somehow I was waking up at like 65. My weight's been going up and down, but it hasn't got out of control at all. I feel good. This is a really good weight cut for me. I feel, I've been training a lot at this place called Funk Fitness in Brighton, Michigan. A lot of strength conditioning, a lot of kettlebell work, a lot of circuits and things like that. It's kind of maybe one of the things I changed in this camp. A lot more conditioning, a lot more strength training. But other than that, I'm always training jiu-jitsu and striking, and I'm doing all kinds of drills. I'm actually waiting for my dad to get to my house right now so we can do some training. Yeah, it's going to be a great fight. You got to watch it.
Looking at your opponent, John Makdessi, what does he bring to the table?
John's a tough kickboxer. He's very technical on his feet. He uses his lead weapons, his lead leg and his lead hand a lot. He's not, the traditional Muay Thai guy that's all squared up and everything like that. But, he does have some knockouts. So he's got knockout power. I feel like he's going to be like a turtle on his back, though. So this is mixed martial arts. You got to be able to do it all.
Now, John is from Montreal, so it'll be his hometown that this fight will take place on. Well, do you think that'll affect you on the crowd being on his side?
No, it doesn't. It actually motivates me. I love coming in as the bad guy. As you can see, my last couple fights in Canada was, everybody's booing you and stuff like that, but I take that as almost like people are cheering me on, too, because when the fight starts and, they get to see what I'm all about, those boos become cheers, and it gets to flip around. So it's really nice.
Now, Daron, what will you have to do to beat John Makdessi in Montreal on next Saturday?
I got to perform, and, all my attributes are going to be there, my speed, my quickness, my cardiovascular. It's all going to come out in this fight, and that's what's going to get me through this fight.
All right, one final question for you. George St. Pierre will take on Nick Diaz for the welterweight title, so I got to ask, who you got?
Well, I'm a big fan of Georgie. I am from the United States, and I should vote for my fellow American, but, GSP has always been kind of like an idol to me as I was growing up and getting into the sport. So, I like how GSP carries himself, respectful and professional, and that's what I like to see.
He is Daron Cruickshank. He's on Twitter at Cruickshank155. He's taking on John Makdessi next Saturday on the undercard, shown on FX starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. Daron, thanks again for coming on the show. We really appreciate it, and we have a lot of fun talking to you.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Anytime you want, just hit me up.
Will do, Daron.
Thanks, Daron.
Have a good fight.
All right, have a good one. Bye.
Once again, that was UFC fighter Daron Cruickshank right here on Beyond the Cage, presented by Intimidation Clothing.